Shabbat Shalom. It's been 2 weeks since I attended my daughter's college graduation, and my pride in her achievements, the person she is, the person she is becoming, shows no signs of subsiding. I will be riding this tsunami of nachas for as long as it will carry me. And yet, as I reflect back on the weekend, the processionals, the joyful family gatherings, I find myself returning to a question that has left me unsettled. What was it about the graduation that triggered such disturbing emotions in me? Was it the ubiquitous presence of Palestinian flags, keffiyehs, and divestment leaflets present throughout the ceremonies? No, I don't think so. It may not be my cup of tea, but as a defender of free speech, I understand and affirm the right of those students to express their politics and their point of view. Was it the chants that momentarily disrupted the university president's address to the students? Again, no. Having witnessed the disruptions at my older daughter's graduation last year, I can say with confidence that these students neither protest nor drink as they do at my alma mater. Was it the fact that some of those students expressing solidarity with Palestinians also self-identified as Jews? This certainly gave me pause, and I'll return to it in a bit. But I'm not naive, nor, as mentioned, do I believe in policing thought. They too have every right to express their beliefs. So what was it that triggered me so? If I had to distill it down to a single thought, I would say this. What triggered me, what made me convulse, and what still makes me shudder now, was the sight of so many caps, gowns, and stoles emblazoned with the word Free Palestine, the same word spoken by the murderer of Yaron Lishinsky and Sarah Milgram just 3 days prior. Two beautiful young souls in their prime, gunned down in cold blood outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. Their lives stolen, their families left to mourn, an anti-Semitic hate crime of the highest order. The couple, due to be engaged, had yet to even be buried, and yet with every parading student, the refrain of their killer stared me straight in the face. A world turned upside down, surreal, unbelievable, dystopian. And it was a convulsion that was only compounded by this week's attack in Boulder, Colorado, a peaceful vigil for the 56 hostages still held by Hamas, a rally akin to the one in Central Park that many of us attend on Sundays, assaulted by a man chanting Free Palestine and End Zionists as he hurled Molotov cocktails into the crowd. 12 were injured, including an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor. Police later discovered 16 unused Molotov cocktails. It could have been much, much worse. American Jews are living in a fraught and harrowing time. From D.C. to Boulder, from the firebombing of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home to the word Gaza spray-painted on the doors of Hebrew Union College here in New York, no corner of Jewish life is untouched. A rap song recently gained traction online for explicitly praising Hitler, public figures casually flashing anti-Semitic hand gestures, politicians on the right embracing known Holocaust deniers, while voices on the left slandering Israel with the charge of genocide. The lines between fact and fiction have blurred. Major news outlets falsely accusing Israel of firing on innocents, some issuing corrections only after the damage is done, and some not even then. From coast to coast, online to campus quad, the message is loud and clear. Jews are not safe. The precautions we take come at significant costs, financial and emotional. Bag checks, magnetometers, police details. This week, I received an email from the convener of a conference that I'll be attending instructing participants not to share any details of the meeting in advance and to remain inside the hotel until our Uber arrives at the place to take us to our location. As a community rabbi, I get stopped on the street all the time, usually by folk offering warm greetings or congregants asking to switch their kids' B'nai Mitzvah dates. But now I wonder, what if, God forbid, those everyday exchanges ever turn dark? There's no shortage of threats. And there are, thankfully, ongoing efforts locally and nationally working tirelessly to address them as we see them. In light of recent events, I would like to call out what I believe to be an inescapable reality of our time. Free Palestine can no longer be understood as a mere slogan championing Palestinian self-determination, but must be understood as an anti-Semitic slur and call to violence against Jews. It has no place in polite society. Its usage should be condemned in civil discourse, and its usage should be avoided by all, especially Jews, whose very personhood is threatened by it. I said it, I mean it, and I stand by it. But before I continue saying what I want to say, let me also be clear about what I am not saying. I am not presently weighing in on Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza and its horrific human cost, about the conditions by which a two-state solution is or isn't feasible, about Israel's settlement policy in the West Bank, about the best way to secure the release of the hostages, about a zillion things about which legitimate and civil debate is both kosher and necessary. I am also not presently weighing in on the American administration's policies vis-a-vis the Middle East, the universities, or immigration. I am certainly not, and I want to be very clear on this, making some sort of First Amendment legal argument that suggests that critique of Israeli policy or the Palestinian liberation be criminalized. My call out, my plea, if you will, is a narrow one, and it comes from the heart, or perhaps from what Jews call seichel, common sense, about the shifting landscape in which we live, about how the meaning of language changes, and how each one of us are stakeholders in the question of how unchecked language can become the instrument of violence. Because while Free Palestine need not have been imagined in its origin as an anti-Semitic slur, because the goalposts have shifted, because of its repeated use as Jewish blood has been threatened and spilled, because those anti-Semitic acts have found Luigi Mangione-like justification and lionization online after the fact, it has become exactly that. Not for all, but for many, enough to give us pause. Free Palestine has come to mean an end to the Jewish state and justification of violence against Jews. I am no linguistic philosopher. I can't even spell Wittgenstein. But I know enough to know that language changes and context matters. I know that there's a difference between words as they are spoken and words as they are heard. Mark Twain wouldn't and shouldn't write the same way now as he did in his day. Street signs no longer say men at work. Rabbis, or at least this rabbi, no longer refers to God as a he or a she, no matter the conventions in which I was raised. This recognition impacts how language is used over generations, but also how it should be used in any particular moment. All lives matter meant something very different following George Floyd's murder than it did before. Am Yisrael Chai, the nation of Israel lives, means something very different when it's being sung by early childhood classroom students than when it's chanted by right-wing Jewish extremists marching through an Arab neighborhood. And sometimes what was kosher for one moment is decidedly not for another. Not every man who's ever whistled at a woman is a misogynist, but it's not something one should ever do today. In my heart of hearts, I cannot believe that the Bo and Luke Duke of my childhood Dukes of Hazzard were racists, but their car was called the General Lee. They painted a Confederate flag on the roof, and the honk of their horn were the first 12 notes of Dixie. 3 things nobody should ever do today. And you know what nobody should do today? Say Free Palestine. Add it to the list. The coded terms anti-Semites use, from the river to the sea, Intifada revolution, globalizers, Zio Jews, to justify violence against us. No matter its origin, it has, through its repetition in violent or exclusionary settings, taken on a dangerous new meaning, a slogan that has become a slur which, when amplified by way of the cesspool of social media, is translated into violence-inducing hate speech and behavior. And to those who contend that we must distinguish between the rhetoric of the few and the intentions of the many, that calls to curb language of Palestinian liberation are to grant the fearmongers a victory, that we need to give folk the better benefit of the doubt, I have 4 words, or really 2 names for you. Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram. They didn't and never will have the benefit of the doubt. The fact that the self-same progressive instinct that would curb, cancel, and condemn the slightest verbal foot fault as a damnable microaggression felt by any other community, but declines to do so when it comes to protecting Jewish lives, is an irony and a hypocrisy that reeks itself of anti-Semitism. And yes, there is a particular people who should be very careful about its use of language, and that is Jews. I live my life with an abiding awareness that what I do matters, as a Jew and especially as a rabbi. It's why I stand up for the people and state of Israel against her enemies, and sometimes why I will take a stand when I believe the behaviors of my co-religionists acting in the name of my faith do not serve the long-term interests of my people. It's why I participated in the 2023 demonstrations against proposed judicial reform in Israel, or more recently, why I participated in the protests against the extremist Israeli minister Itamar Ben-Gvir when he set foot in Manhattan. Jews must hold ourselves to account. But for one Jew to brandish the very slogan of those who would perpetrate violence against other Jews is an act of moral self-immolation that only serves to provide cover to the very people who would seek to do Jews harm. In this world of trigger warnings, land acknowledgments, and pronominal sensitivity, surely there is a way to express dissent with the Israeli government and empathy with the Palestinian cause that does not jeopardize the well-being of the Jewish people. And if the lead guitarist for Radiohead figured out a way to do it last week and you can't, then you are either not trying hard enough or the matter is more about you than it is about anyone else. Too often, I'm reminded of the protagonist of this week's Haftorah, the tragic hero Samson. Samson didn't fall because he was weak. He fell because he wanted to be loved so badly that he forgot who he was. He shared the secret of his strength with Delilah, someone who sought not his flourishing, but his downfall. I get it. We all want to be accepted. Samson did. Everyone does. We long to be seen as just and good, but if we give up the source of our strength, if we give up our own truths in order to be embraced who seek our harm and deny our right to exist as a people and as a nation, we, like Samson, may wake up one day to find our eyes gouged and our power gone. Anti-Semitism may be the most ancient of hatreds, but like a virus, its pathology mutates in every generation, its most recent form dressed in the language of anti-Zionism. As protectors of the global Jewish body politic, we stand on guard, be it from the left or the right, be it a march in the street or the upcoming mayoral primary, from its expressions beyond our community or from within our ranks. In every generation, and especially in ours, we summon the courage to name the hatreds we face, to confront them, and to stand unflinchingly in defense of our people. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you for joining the Park Avenue Synagogue family. I hope you enjoyed the sermon. Please consider supporting our online community by scanning the QR code or by going to supportpas.org or by making a donation. Shalom and see you in Shul.